Hello! Welcome to another fine episode of Cooking in Kitchens. I am Ruben, full-time real estate agent professional, cooking hobbyist, cooking enthusiast. And this recipe that we've got going on here, this is, what do we got here? It's a steak quesadilla, Cajun-inspired steak quesadilla. So we've got a wide variety of vegetables here and spices that are all ready to go in. I bought the steak pre-cubed, so don't even have to worry about cutting it or trimming it. So let's get started. Start off, this does have a guacamole in it, so we're going to start off by making the guacamole. We're going to take our 2 avocados here. Just going to give them a cut in half. And as always, make sure your knives are sharp. Now, pits, don't use a knife to take them out, please. None of this, no Ninja Ginsu stuff. They come out just fine with a spoon. Because nothing says badass like a trip to the hospital and blood all over your food. I have had former colleagues that did such a thing and posted their hospital photos on Facebook. It was glorious, to say the least. I don't think their dinner went down all that well. Alright, so we got 2 avocados here. Putting them into a medium bowl. One and 2. These avocados are quite ripe, so they're coming off pretty easily. Very soft, so they're gonna make some great guacamole. And then sometimes you have to pick the pit up off the floor and clean your carpet later. All right. Okay. Next, going into this, it says 2 ounces of, or 1 ounce of chopped tomatoes. So I just grabbed the smallest tomato I could. I'm just gonna put it all in there. So we're just gonna chop this bad boy up, throw it in there. And again, sharp knives, especially when dealing with tomatoes, because the skin on a tomato can be quite slippery. And if your knife isn't sharp enough, it's not going to bite into the skin. And it can slip, cause a little injury. gonna be a very tomatoey guacamole. Let's see here. Also, 2 tablespoons of fresh chopped cilantro. We got some cilantro here. I love me some cilantro, and I'm obviously, like, you can only really buy them by the bushel or pre-cut, like pre-packaged or something like that, chopped up and put into a little cup. But even then, it's not going to have quite the freshness, because as you cut this, as you can smell, you get that fresh, start to release that fresh smell, and that's going to get into your food, as opposed to something that's probably had some time to sit in the air and dry, even if it's in a container. Next up, a tablespoon of lemon juice. I'm not really going to measure this out. Just going to give it a squeeze. And of course, I was hoping I could escape not having the seeds fall in there, but one got away. Alright. Save that for later. Now we can tell I'm being real thorough about this. 1 tablespoon. There, that's good, right? Okay. So we need some coarse salt and some black pepper. Alrighty, this makes a lot of guacamole. So, if we got some chips lying around, you're gonna have plenty of opportunity for dip. And if you like spicy guacamole, you can always chop up a jalapeno in there, throw in some chili pepper. Done. So I'm gonna put this into a bowl. Easier, it takes up less space in the fridge. Alright. Now the one thing I like about working with square bowls like this is that when you gotta wrap it with something, because it's square, we're just going to cover this. But because it's square, the wrap, this is press and seal, the wrap fits quite nicely over it. Oh, and one thing to note, on the when you're buying your ingredients for it, when it goes into the quesadilla and it calls for guacamole, it's talking about the stuff that you just made. It just says guacamole. So I bought a small container of guacamole, so I have a lot of guacamole right now. But the fresh stuff is better anyway. Moving on next, we're going to start getting our beef ready. To make the quesadilla in a medium bowl, combine the Cajun spices, salt, black pepper, oregano, thyme, paprika, and stir with a spoon to combine. Alright, so now as opposed to what I did with the guacamole, I'm going to actually measure this out. This is a little different. So, spices, we have 1.5 teaspoons of Cajun spice blend. Where did I put that? There it is. So I had to go to the bulk section to get this. I couldn't find it in like one of these nifty jars here. Couldn't tell you what this is actually made of because they don't actually print that. But it smells great. Okay. So 1.5 teaspoons. So I'm just going to grab 3 halves. 1, 2, 3. Half teaspoon of salt. 1 teaspoon of black pepper. It's a lot, so this could take a bit. I do prefer to use fresh ground, because again, much like when the cilantro, you're going to get more flavor out of it when it's freshly cut as opposed to when it's been sitting in the air. It's had time to kind of dry out. And even if you get a little bit more pepper in there, it does tend to cook off in the pan. We're going to dried oregano. 2. And always, if you do have fresh, so if you do have fresh herbs, those will always yield much more flavor. Although you do usually have to use less of the fresh stuff, simply because it's going to have retained a lot of its flavor. Paprika. And stir. Next, add your steak to the spice mixture and rub the spices into the meat using your hands. Cover the bowl with clear plastic, wrap the meat, and let the spices and rest the spices for 15 minutes or up to 2 hours in the fridge. Well, we're just going to go 15 minutes here on this one. While doing this, the more spices you can get into the beef, the better. When you're done, there shouldn't really be any spices left in the bowl. And by wrapping, I mean I'm just going to cover it like this. Next up, we heat the pan. In a medium pan, add the garlic oil and allow the pan to heat up on medium heat. When the pan is warm, add your steak. Cook each side for 3 to 5 minutes, or 6 to 10 minutes total. When the steak turns a darker brown, it's cooked through. Use a slotted spoon to remove the steak from the pan and place it in a small bowl. Cover with a foil and keep the meat warm. We need to dice our shallots, shred some manchingo. Still got shallots here, and we also need 2 ounces of diced yellow diced peppers, which really isn't all that much. 2 ounces of this is not a whole lot. So we're gonna go ahead, cut these up. And you're really probably only looking at about 1/4 of the pepper for this. The rest, I'd say, chop it up, slice it up, and you can have it for snacks. So the recipe calls for garlic oil, but I'm just going to use some garlic because I'm not buying a whole container of oil just for this one recipe. I'm going to set some oil in it. When cooking steak, or pretty much any meat, I try to have some space in between them. And also bear in mind that the hot spots on your pan or your stove, even this cast iron is big. It's actually larger than the heating element. And so I'm not going to get a whole lot of heat here on the edges. So the stuff in the center is going to cook. So you gotta, I'm going to have to cycle the outsides of the in as it cooks. While this is cooking, I'm going to grate our cheese. Cut the rind off this cheese. Probably don't want to grate it. I suppose you could, and it's not bad for you or anything. So we're going to go ahead and do a medium grate. Crumbly cheese is a good cheese, right? Right? Ta-da. Yeah, I need some more oil with this. Change into a spatula so I can scrape the mixture off the center. We don't really want that burning into the steak. Take the meat, put it on half. Now you don't want to get too crazy with this because it's very easy to just overfill this. You remember, you gotta have enough room to close this thing up. Alright, just make sure it's all covered. Splendid. Throw some cheese in there. Some sour cream in. Stuff this all in there. And it's off to the grill. We're going to do about 2 minutes on each side. Turn that down just a bit. Yeah, check that out. So you can tell where it's hot, where it isn't. You end up getting that kind of a crispiness to it. So we're just going to flip it over. Ugh. So that's how it should look. That nice, nicely browned. Anyway, cut this bad boy. Whipped cream, or sour cream. Garnish with cilantro. And squeeze a little bit extra lemon on there. And voila! Get a close up looking at that. Beautiful, isn't it? And now we have another dish down. Thanks for joining me. This is Cooking in Kitchens. My name is Ruben. Real estate professional, hobby cook. Again, new magazines are out. Got another issue coming out soon. Got some backlog, a little bit of surplus. But yeah, plenty of recipes in here. Quarterly subscription. And absolutely free. No obligation. If you don't like it, just let me know and I'll take it off. Alright. Thanks for playing. Have a good one. And I'll see you on the next round. Bye.